After crossing the Gulf Stream and clearing customs in the Bahamas, our first stop was to release some baby sea turtles. These are provided by Florida Atlantic University and are released into the safety of a sargassum raft. Jim's boat is the only one aside from the Coast Guard allowed to release these turtles. Then it was off to go see sharks. We got a couple of daylight dives in, seeing many sharks as well as the rare trigger-happy black-suited timfish. After an amazing supper, it was time for our first night dive. As large as they are, it was impressive and initially unnerving to see the tiger sharks just appear out of the darkness. This was Hot Wheels, a relative newcomer and rather shy, though quite large. While watching for the tigers, we were also being visited by reef, nurse, lemon, and bull sharks. Of all the sharks we saw, the bulls were the ones we kept the closest eye on. Day 2 started bright and early, with the first dive being at about 8:30 a.m. Clear water and a moderate current gave excellent visibility, and it wasn't long before Hot Wheels came back. She seemed cautiously curious about the strange aliens in her world. Of course, the reef, lemon, nurse, and bull sharks came around as well. A large bull shark overhead is to be closely monitored. After lunch, the tide was low and so was visibility, so we opted to play with the surface sharks, lemon and bull mostly. Both got very excited as Captain Michael splashed the water with a piece of fish. The only other thing touching the water at that point was cameras. The lemon sharks were very obliging and giving very toothy smiles. A couple hours later, it was time to get back in the water as visibility returned and the sharks settled back down. Emily quickly appeared, seeking attention and snacks. Reef and bull sharks quickly gave way to her. After a couple more dives, the sun began to set and it was time for another night dive. Emily was still in the neighborhood, and the buzz you hear in the background is the dive master calling attention to her presence. She made several passes, getting to know each guest in her domain, and getting some attention and affection from the dive master, in this case, Jim Abernethy. During a lull in the action, I got a chance to cuddle with Nakawe, an adult lemon shark, who enjoyed the affection and briefly tolerated being picked up. Then it was back to the boat for supper and sleep. Day 3 was met with mixed emotions. It was our last day with the tiger sharks, but we were also eager for the next stop. Elsa came back around, and so did the biggest of our girls this visit, the Grinch. Elsa repeatedly got closer to us before going to the dive master. We were not allowed to touch anything ahead of the gills, but stroking her flanks is an unforgettable experience, as was an unintentional slap by her tail. Grinch got snacks and affection too, but Elsa sought Captain Michael in particular, repeatedly returning for his attention and affection. Sophia was another newcomer, very shy and cautious, and small, but beautiful. Overnight, we shifted from Grand Bahama to Bimini for the great hammerheads. Generally very skittish, they willingly were fed by koi, returning repeatedly. A chance to give some attention to the nurse sharks was also enjoyed by all, in between hammerhead visits. The real star of the hammerhead show was Queenie, the largest great hammerhead on record at over 17 feet in length. Were I standing on her back, I would just barely be able to straddle her dorsal fin. Queenie in particular seemed to enjoy my attempts to keep her in the camera frame, as I either rolled or fell over during her frequent flyovers. I should say, despite her size, at no time did I feel unsafe around her. Simply standing up would cause her to veer off. But why do that when I enjoyed her attention as much as she did? After returning to Florida, getting checked into our hotel, and getting a night's sleep, Jim gave us a chance to go with him to his favorite manatee spot, and there we spent a couple of hours just enjoying snorkeling and floating along, watching these beautiful animals. And I was surprised at how much time they seemed to spend sleeping. But they would come up after about 20 minutes, catch a breath of air, go back down, and go back to sleep. Occasionally, some of the young ones would swim around, and some family units were seen swimming together. Occasionally, they would split apart and come back together, and it was just enjoyable to watch the families move about. At the end of it all, though, we still had to come back to reality, and the next day we were on the plane back to New Hampshire and back to work.